Hey everybody, Joe Joseph here for thedailysheeple.com, and this is your news shot. So I gotta say, I was kind of taken aback by this headline here out of Yahoo News. Severed heads hold a sneaky feminist meaning at Gucci. I mean, this is really sickening. This Milan Fashion Week. During this, on Wednesday afternoon, Gucci staged a spectacular, so they say, yet peculiar fashion show that included cyborg models, which upon a deeper look, possessed an underlying metaphorical feminist message. I love how they spin this. In the Gucci show notes, creative director Alessandro Michel referenced a cyborg manifesto written by Donna Haraway in 1984. In it, Haraway uses the concept of a cyborg to represent women without the constraints of society's traditional gender labels. And as one Wired writer notes, the cyborg in Haraway's piece trashes the big oppositions between nature and culture, self and world, that runs through so much of our thought. It poses the idea that all of us are not naturally made, or rather, we are constructed, much like a cyborg. And if given the right tools, why, we can be reconstructed. That is to say, women aren't born to be wives, born to work in the house, or naturally submissive and overly emotional people. Women can choose to be however they want to be. Let me stop there. Women most certainly can do that. To say that there isn't discrimination, say in the workplace, is just untrue and unfair to women to not acknowledge. It most certainly exists and is ever present. With that said, it's also short-sighted to say that women can do everything that a man can do. It is short-sighted for men to say that we can do everything a woman can do. Just not happening. Women need to be treated the same as men, as far as respect, as far as pay in a similar position. And that clearly doesn't happen. And because of that, you have feminism today that's also driven by, again, these special interests and these nonprofits and these George Soros groups and everything else that basically defines feminism as the advocacy of women's rights on the ground of the equality of the sexes. But see, in Gucci's world, sexes and genders just don't exist. So, the big question here is, why let traditional gender constraints put forth by society stop women from moving forward with their goals and dreams? Let me stop there. Look, we can try and change the way that the world is or life is, but let me tell you something, folks. There's two types of humans, male and female. That's what's there. Now, if somebody wants to go and change that, that's up to them. They have to live with that, whatever the consequences are or whatever drives them to it. That's their own decision. That's their private decision. Nobody knows what's best for them than them. And if they so choose to change their sex because technology makes it possible, then so be it. That's their choice. We can't force our will on anybody else. And further, if we are going to tackle some of society's biggest problems, then we have to do so from a standpoint of mutual respect and unconditional love. You know, and the fact is that when those exist, people don't feel the need to rebel if they feel respected and they feel loved. Why? You feel respected and loved, you're content. If you're content, you're not rebelling. These are things that we really have to have a come to Jesus moment with, really. Again, no one knows what's best for you or anybody else. That's why the whole gun argument is bunk. That's why the sex argument is bunk. Because we were designed with free will. Now, in this case, severed heads walking down the alley, the walkway with severed heads, I think that takes it a bit too far. You know? But I will say that we are going down a road where human beings will be cyborgs sooner rather than later. We're already seeing AI and cutting-edge nanotechnology pave the way for some pretty life-transforming changes to humanity. Yesterday, I talked about immortality being possible by 2050, and anybody being born after 1970 has a pretty good shot at immortality. You know, that's a good question. Would you go down that road of being immortal? You know, and if you haven't watched the series Altered Carbon over on Netflix, I would recommend that you watch it, if not for entertainment purposes, then for the underlying message, which is very interesting indeed. I'm only on episode 4, but I can tell you that immortality in that dystopian story is really not, it's not a good thing unless you're a person of means. And as you know, person of means, the wealth gap here today just gets bigger and bigger and bigger. This is in the future. And the wealth gap is extremely, it's a huge chasm in this time, in this story. You know, and only the uber rich could afford what they call sleeves, what we call bodies today. That would be, I don't know, beneficial to them. You know, to the common person, if you can afford a sleeve, you get what you get. In one episode, there's a 7-year-old girl that dies, and, she's killed, and the courts award her a new sleeve via restitution. And so she's downloaded into this new sleeve, and it just so happens to be this 7-year-old girl is inhabiting like a 50-year-old female's body, because that's all the family could afford. So now here's your 7-year-old daughter in a 50-year-old woman's body. You know, it's not all utopian as they might lead you to believe. And I don't know. I'm just not one that buys into this whole immortality thing. I think we're here for a reason. I think we're here to learn, and I think we're here to evolve. And it's up to us whether we accept that message, accept that responsibility. We do our due diligence in this lifetime. And when we die, it's off to the next level or wherever that is. So, you know what? Very interesting, very interesting fashion show coming out of Yahoo News. I, for one, I don't get it. I don't get the art. I don't get what's covering, taking severed heads and carrying them down the aisle actually does for people outside of it being sick and twisted and pushing like an occultist Luciferian agenda. So that's my take on it. Feel free to sound off below and visit our website at thedailysheeple.com. I'm Joe Joseph. #WakeTheFlockUp. Have a great day.